day, everybody. I'm Russ Reed, and I'm the Executive Director of the National Center for the Biotechnology Workforce here at Forsyth Tech Community College in Winston-Salem, North Carolina, in the lovely Innovation Quarter, which is our tech hub here. And I'm delighted today because we have a couple of guests. Trevor is no stranger to SciTech. He's our expert technician and makes this thing work. Trevor, good morning.
Good morning, Russ. Thank you for having me.
Trevor, I think you're pretty excited today too, because we've gone a little out of our lane here, and we have Devin Purgason, who's the Executive Director of Marketing and Student Care. Welcome, Devin.
Thank you so much for having me, Russ and Trevor. I'm really excited to be here.
Well, we're excited to have you, and I know that I have some questions for you, Devin, but I know that Trevor does too.
Awesome.
So I'm going to start, if you don't mind. Devin, just generally welcome to SciTech. You've followed SciTech, and also I want to thank you for your support of SciTech. We think it's a great program, and I think you do too. So thanks for supporting us. Really appreciate it. The first question is really easy, Devin. Just tell us about yourself.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Russ. And honestly, just first off, this is a little surreal because for years I have been posting the SciTech lectures on our social media and on our tech link and different things. And so to be in a SciTech lecture, this is really a great honor. So thank you so much, Russ and Trevor for having me today. A little bit about myself. So I serve as the Executive Director of Marketing and Student Care at Forsyth Technical Community College. So we are coworkers, we're colleagues. I get to do some really cool work around marketing, communications, student experience. And so I love that. A little bit about me just personally, whenever it comes to like hobbies and things, I love to travel. I don't know if this is a hobby, but maybe we can consider it one just for today. I love to eat. So like, going and trying new restaurants. Russ is a great partner in that work, talking about restaurants and different things. I know you're quite traveled as well, my friend. So I love chatting with you about that. And then I think one thing that has always sort of followed me throughout my life is like photography and videography. And so those are not only things that I get to do in a work environment, but also things that really do give me creative joy and give me a passion to do outside of work. So that's just a little snippet about me. And I think the work that you're doing here, Russ, in the National Center for Biotechnology Workforce with SciTech, is just really pivotal. It's so important to our college, and I love any way that we can leverage that from a marketing and communication standpoint. So keep doing what you're doing. We love it, and we're here to shout it from the rooftops.
So, Trevor, one of the reasons I wanted to bring you on to SciTech, you've just mentioned a whole plethora of messages, but one of the reasons I wanted to bring you on SciTech is because I think you're very tech savvy. And, you've proven that to me time and time again. Can you just go into a little bit more about your tech savviness?
Absolutely. Well, I think that technology is one of those things that really has an underpinning in whatever area you work at in the college, whether you're working financial aid or accounting or as an instructor, there are places where technology is a huge leveraging force for us. And so a couple of the things that I'm really passionate about, AI, artificial intelligence. I'm actually one of the three co-chairs of our AI exploration committee. So this is a committee that we are working together, across, faculty, staff positions to sort of develop AI policies. So whether that's around like integrity and use within the classroom or just general use here at the college, we are exploring those things, looking at different AI products, ways that we can make life and work more productive, more efficient within our college. One way that for SciTech, I think is leading and trailblazing, if you will. Shout out to Trevor with his Trailblazer t-shirt on. I love that branding. We have one of the most cutting edge AI chatbots on our website. And so this is something that we invested in about 8 months ago. So pretty, if you would consider March 2023 sort of like the inception of ChatGPT, OpenAI, their sort of rise to the household name that they are today. We started our AI chatbot based on OpenAI's model in July. So this was just a couple of months after it rose to prominence. And so what this AI chatbot does is it crawls our website. It has a knowledge base that is directly integrated within our CRM, which is our our customer relationship management software. And so when a student gets on and asks a question in English or Mandarin or Spanish, whatever it may be, it replies in that language completely fluently. It's not a wooden Google translation. It's a meaning by meaning translation, and it's pulling direct information from our website, giving those students that information. Whenever BlazeBot does not know an answer, she says, "Would you like to talk to a human?" And it directly integrates within our student care team. So a student care representative is right there to answer that question. What we're then able to do is we're able to say, "Oh, wait, this was a knowledge gap. BlazeBot didn't realize that, we forgot to upload, the next 8-week course, dates in or whatnot." And so it keeps us on our toes as well to sort of update that knowledge base because, one thing about AI is there has to be some human element as well. I think a lot of people are in this, oh no, AI is here to take our jobs. I don't see it that way. I think that AI is here to really help us leverage our creativity and our ingenuity. It's here to help us become more productive and efficient in other ways, and sort of take away a little bit of the busy work in some ways. I tell people, especially when it comes to ChatGPT and things of that nature, look at it like an intern. So for instance, if you had an intern write a letter that you were going to email to the president, would you just send it on and not read it? Absolutely not. You would scrutinize it. You know what I mean? You would really look at it and say, okay, no, that doesn't work. Sorry, intern, like you did your best. And it might get you 80% there, which is great. That's what interns are there for. They're to help sort of do a little bit of the dirty work. You know what I mean? And so that's sort of like the lens that I look at AI through. Not as something that's going to sort of take away our jobs or whatnot, but something that will help us become become more efficient and productive. So that's just one of the great ways that I think Forsyth Tech is stepping into the AI world, into technology, and one of the ways that I see us sort of becoming a trailblazer on there. Russ, I know that I sort of just went fire hydrant on you and Trevor with my comments, but I hope they answered your question and sort of gave the listeners a little bit of a touch of my joy of technology.
Devin, that was right on the money, and I think that's where we're at right now, right? Everybody is talking about GPT or AI, its implications, and so it's very comforting knowing that you were actually very highly motivated by this, but at the same time leading the effort and making sure with your committee that this will be properly inserted as a tool for the college, right? So I'm very glad that you went off on a tangent. Thank you, because it's an important one. I'm going to turn it over to Trevor. He's got some questions for you.
Awesome.
Yeah, so definitely thank you for sharing all that about AI and whatnot, Devin. It's really interesting to kind of learn about the process behind that and kind of the impact that it's having on, supporting our students and kind of being a trailblazer in that particular field with our college. So from the sound of things, it definitely sounds like you're very passionate about your role here at the college. And I just wanted to ask if you could maybe kind of tell us a little more about your role and sort of the scope of it and maybe some of the things that motivate you in it as well.
Absolutely. So my role, it's a bit of a strange title role. Marketing and student care. What is that? What is student care? How do they go together? If they are what they sound like, how do they go together? And so from the marketing side, that really has a sweeping umbrella of everything from public relations and events to social media, website, photography, videography, um, copywriting, public relations, um, digital marketing, uh, pay-per-click advertising, display ads, um, out of office advertisement, different things of that nature. I mean, everything from the colleges, I would say every word on the website to every flyer that is printed out of our copiers with our logo on it, sort of runs through my department. We're I would say in the scope of how many students and the staff that we have at SciTech, we have a small but mighty team, including myself. There are 6 full-time people in the marketing department, and we each sort of have our own areas of words and pictures and graphics, and then events and logistics. We handle all of those things, but then we move into student care, which is a new extra piece. So let me just sort of talk about the inception of what student care was. Um, we were doing a really good job of gathering leads, which is one of the biggest jobs of marketers. You want to say who is interested in our college and how can we follow up with them. And so we were doing a really, really good job of gathering those leads, but then we saw that there wasn't really a lot of follow through. So, it doesn't matter how great we are at our jobs as marketers if we're not following through and getting the student to understand that what we're offering is like a life-changing thing, and we need you to be here to do that. And so student care was birthed out of this idea of like a full student concierge, where students can go without being passed around to department. They have a seamless experience where they can ask any question, and we're going to try as hard as we can, up to 80% of all questions that come in, we try to answer without escalation. So we are really, this is a customer service team that is here for our students, trying to really make sure that they're able to get all their questions answered, and have a really good experience. Because I think one of the biggest things about marketing that is a misconception is that the most powerful marketing is word of mouth marketing. It has always been, and always will be. It is just something that you really can't put a price tag on. And so if students have a wonderful experience at our college, they will tell others about it. And that is one of the greatest marketing tools that we have. So that's sort of what student care is, how it integrates into marketing. But also, one of the best pieces of your question, Trevor, that I love was what motivates you to do this work every day. And I think this is the case for all of us here at Forsyth Tech. Our biggest motivation is our students. I think one thing about Forsyth Tech, and I, this is the only community college that I've worked for, so I don't have a lot of outside experience to say if this is unique or not, but I feel like it is. We are a very mission-driven institution, and that comes from the leadership down. And so this vision of being a catalyst for equitable economic mobility, empowering lives, and transforming communities is in the DNA of every single position at our college. And so no matter if we're, posting the sign to tell students about Forsyth Tech and you need to come here, the whole goal is to get them across that stage and into a family sustaining wage. And so that is, I know what motivates me, and what I feel like motivates all of us here on this call, to continue to come to work every day and do the work that we're doing, is because we know that it's changing lives. And so that is, I think, the biggest motivator for me in my work. And I know for us here at Forsyth Tech and in the National Center for Biotechnology Workforce.
That's great. Thank you so much for sharing that, Devin. I can definitely agree with the sentiment that, that Foresight technician statement is definitely ingrained in pretty much all of our positions at the college here, like you said. For me, as someone who works in, the CTLE, we do a lot of work with supporting our faculty, of course, but it always comes back to, supporting the students and, the student experience here at the college and, making sure that's the best that it can be. So I definitely agree with that. So kind of as a follow-up to that question. So as someone who myself has a background in media production, I'm actually also a graduate of the broadcasting production technology here at the program in the class of 2018. So definitely it's kind of where I got my start in media production, and to a good degree, I also work at it now in my current role with doing some video production related things for the college. But I'm very curious to see if you could maybe tell us some more about the different types of video content that either you've produced or maybe that marketing has had a hand in producing. I know I've seen all different kinds of videos played at like certain events here on campus, or just, videos featuring Dr. Spriggs and that kind of thing. So I definitely would love to learn more about that if you have anything to share.
Absolutely, Trevor. That's a really great question. And this is one of those pieces that, is fun. So, not every I talked about this whole like we love this vision and this mission, and that's our motivating force. But sometimes when like you're reading a spreadsheet, that's not always the most fun and most fulfilling piece of our jobs, even though we have to do it. But one thing that is really rewarding to me and very much a creative, not only expender, but fulfiller for me is video photo production. And so I'm lucky enough to work in a job where that is a part of what I do sometimes. And I've had to slowly realize that, whenever you lead more people, sometimes you have to give some of those things away. And so over time, I have had to sort of, delegate some of the more fun tasks, I would say, to other amazing people at Forsyth Tech, like yourself, or Ash Lucero, who is our digital marketing and media coordinator, and he does a lot of that work now. But sometimes, whenever I'm lucky, he will pull me in. So a couple of the things that we have done from a video production standpoint at Forsyth Tech, I feel like we've done everything from like the super serious, police training videos that we've worked to create, to the super silly carpool karaoke videos that we play in all team day. So the spectrum is very wide of the video content that we produce. But we do a lot of different types of video productions. So we work very closely with our president's office, and so that is a lot of the video content that I think a lot of people don't really see that we produce. Dr. Spriggs is a highly coveted speaker, or talking point giver, you know what I mean, at different conferences and things. And so we are constantly tapped to sort of like, hey, can you film a welcome from Dr. Spriggs? Hey, can you film a welcome from Dr. Spriggs? And that just shows how gracious she is to come down to our studio and sort of get behind the teleprompter, and we'll film that and put those together. But then also various video for our website. When we launched our website in July, we produced a lot of great, like, what is a place of promise? What does that mean video? And that was a very cinematic video that we produced that had a lot of elements that were outside of the studio. So we do things that are outside, more natural light, run and gun type things, to more cinematic production if we have time, and a lot of daylight to sort of burn for the time. And honestly, and Trevor, this, it also depends if it's a project where it's like, oh, here's a project and we've got 2 months to finish this, or oh, here's a project, it has to be done by the weekend. And so, like, depending on the sort of the lead time that we're given, also gives us an idea of how much time we want to spend into that. But then also even just some of the funny things that our campus needs, like I had to buy like a $40 little car rig to put in Dr. Spriggs's car for our camera to film her with her carpool karaoke, which I think was a hit. I hope that you guys enjoyed that. Yeah. So we film a lot of different things. It's been a lot of fun. Just to nerd out with you just for a moment. I am a Sony shooter, so I love Sony. It's mirrorless. That's what Ash and I both shoot on. So we shoot on mirrorless Sonys. And then Ash, he is a Premiere editor. I think that you are as well, Trevor. Yep. So you guys are smart. You guys are the smartest. Your industry standard. I am not. I am one of those poor Apple guys that edits on Final Cut Pro. So I'm a Final Cut Pro guy. So we have some diversity in editing software within our department, but it's just a great, wonderful, creative thing that I get to do. So thank you for that question, Trevor.
Yeah, thank you for sharing all that. I like seeing the different, perspectives of people who work in, a field similar to I do, at least to some degree. And I can definitely speak to, in my time, both as a student here and also working here, I've done many different types of projects as well. Everything from program tours to filming, long form lecture videos for instructors, to a lot of what I do now is I produce a lot of different like tutorial video resources for our faculty and students as well. So it's definitely, it encompasses a lot of different needs at the college for, all the different types of videos that we produce. But thank you for sharing all that. It's, like I said, it's nice to get a different, perspective on all those type of things. So, all right, I guess, Russ, I will turn it back to you for the next question.
Well, thanks, guys. I as a techie myself, from a biotech perspective, I was definitely out of my lane, and I really enjoyed listening to what you're talking about. But I think I understood some of it.
Yes.
Devin, you're kind of like a very humble person, really. I mean, when you get to know you and stuff. But recently, I have noticed through LinkedIn or other media that you've actually been given some awards.
Oh my goodness.
And, I think that's an important thing, not only for yourself personally, for your development, but also for the college. And I'd like you to be able to speak to the college and speak to our community with respect to these awards, but importantly, what do they mean for you, and what do they mean for the college? Thank you.
Thank you, Russ. I'm so humbled by you even asking. So I was recently awarded the Triad Business Journal's 40 Under 40, and I'm super honored by that because this is a large swath of people in the Triad. This is the Greensboro, High Point, Winston-Salem, and to be selected was just mouth on the floor, really special. But one of the reasons that I was selected was a lot of the amazing work that's going on at Forsyth Tech and some of the successes that we've seen here from a marketing lens, and that is honestly, I'm just lucky enough to be leading this amazing team. It would be impossible without my team. My team, they are the ones that make this work happen every single day, and so they deserve so much praise and applause. I think one thing that this shows for Forsyth Tech is that we are a leader in the business world. We really are. We're a leader here in our city. And whenever you look at other colleges and universities, many of them, I don't think there was another one in Winston that was represented in this class of 40 under 40. So I feel like this shows a lot about what Forsyth Tech is doing in the business world. Workforce development, I know, Russ, is something that is big for you. I mean, that is where your heart is in a lot of ways. And so, the Triad Business Journal, I think, understands that Forsyth Tech is a major workforce development partner in our region, in our state. And so I think this is just indicative of that. So uh, we were able to get up and do a 40 word acceptance speech, and I was there with Dr. Spriggs and with Paula, and I just, 40 words is not a lot to thank everyone. So, I just said our vision statement. I told the crowd, I'm accepted this on behalf of Forsyth Tech, and this is what Forsyth Tech's mission and vision is. This is what we're here to do, and community colleges are amazing. And so that was how I accepted the award, because, you know, I Devin Purgason would be a footnote on this as a Forsyth Tech achievement. It is sort of the way that I see this. I would not be able to have gotten anything like that if it wasn't for Forsyth Tech, for our leadership pouring into me, and then the amazing team that I get the honor to lead every day. So yeah, that's sort of a bit about that award, Russ.
Well, thank you for sharing that with us, Devin, and I think it shows great humility on your part, but also you're a very talented guy. I want to move to my next question, Devin.
Yes.
Now, a little over a month ago, we had a visitor to the college, Dr. Jill Biden, and also director of the NSF, Punch, whom I just saw this past week, actually, at the NSF in Alexandria, Virginia. But having gone through that process with you, I wanted to ask you to share what you think are the skills that were required to make that a success.
Yes, that is a great question. And Russ, that it was such a special time, because I feel like you and I got to know each other a lot better, because we were with each other for, it felt like 72 hours straight. So I think a couple things whenever it comes to skills necessary to make a visit like that come off. I'm going to go with a couple of what I think people refer to as soft skills first, even though I don't think they're quite as soft as some people make them. There's just a level of resilience and hard work that you have to muster within yourself. I think if you're someone who is only motivated by the clock, so like if you're a clock watcher, if you're an 8 to 5, like it's 4:59 and at 5 o'clock I'm out of here. I think if we were surrounded by people like that here at this college, that things like the Joe Biden visit would not be possible. We have a lot of selfless, hardworking, staying until it gets done kind of people at Forsyth Tech, and I think that there's a level of that you have to have, and you kind of have to, to say it a little, dryly, you have to kind of get over yourself a little bit whenever it comes to some of those visits. Because Russ, you and I, we were there till 10, 11 o'clock, and then back at 6 o'clock in the morning. I mean, it was an intense 3 days that really came on suddenly. So I would say definitely that within, just yourself is a huge skill to have. But there are also a lot of things, like whenever it comes to communications professional, that strategic planning that you have to have, stakeholder engagement. So for instance, we were constantly, and Russ can attest to this, we were constantly communicating with our superiors. This is the expectation. This is what we need this from you. And then shifting an hour later to something completely different. And so being able to sort of keep your head while things were shifting, and you're planning things out, but then also realizing that those plans are in pencil and there's an eraser coming, is something very important. I also think, like, media, from a communications professional standpoint, media relations was huge. So understanding how to, and a lot of the White House folks really led point on that, but we were helping support support all of that initiatives, because this was our local media. We understand them. And so media relations is huge. And then I think another piece of communication that isn't talked about quite often, that is a huge skill needed and that was heavily utilized during the Dr. Biden and the Dr. Ponch visit, was listening. So listening to the White House, listening to what their needs are, and then figuring out how we can meet those needs, was just, it was worth its weight in gold. It was I think the biggest point. And I think one of the reasons that what I feel like the White House had a great visit with us, and the reason that they enjoyed themselves so much, and that it was such a wonderful visit, is because we were there to support them and listen to them and make sure that what they were saying was being heard, and action was taken on it. So those are just a couple of the skills I would say from a communications professional, from your toolbox, that you need to have whenever it comes to like a high profile visit, such as First Lady Dr. Jill Biden coming to our campus.
Devin, I think you hit the nail on all those points and did a great job. And thank you for that response. Really, really, really good. I think that the information that you have just given our students and given faculty and staff is invaluable. The other thing that I always, and this just a point from my perspective, was taught this a long time ago, was expect the unexpected.
Yeah.
But it's not what you do. It's not so much not to expect it, but it's what you do when you know that the unexpected arises, that you know what steps to take. Trevor, I think you have another question for Devin.
Yeah. So, Devin, would you happen to have any advice for students who are studying communication and maybe looking to sort of pursue a career in a field similar to that?
Yes, that's such a good question, Trevor. So I would say, if you're studying communication, the biggest piece of advice I would have for you is to diversify yourself by grabbing onto another skill and really working on that. I think whatever that skill may be, so if you're in a communication field, there's probably a couple of different areas that you can fit into, and that's creative, or like writing, or like being strategic. For me, my extra skill was always what we talked about, Trevor, photography and videography. That's sort of been that underlying extra thing that I can do that has helped me, I would say, get a job at SciTech. At my previous institutions, that was one of the distinguishing characteristics about me. That's what set me a little bit apart, the average communications student or whatnot, is because I had those extra skills that I was able to bring to the job. So whatever that may be, whether it's like I'm a really good writer, like that's my bread and butter, is writing, and I'm a great copy editor. I'm a great, I can write in different tones or different ways. Learning that writing skill is huge. Or if it's more of a graphic design, I'm a graphic designer and I love Illustrator. I love InDesign. I love creating booklets or whatnot. Whatever it is, always try to find an extra edge to the knife, so that you can really diversify, excel, and then set yourself apart. One of the biggest majors in the U.S. right now is psychology, and that's one of those majors that is sort of like, oh well, you really have to go to the master's degree to actually specialize in something to get a position. I feel like it's a little bit of the same way with communications. People can go and get a bachelor's degree and learn sort of like the basics, but you need an extra little oomph to sort of give yourself an edge. And so my biggest advice to people that are in that field, that are looking to advance themselves, is to find something else that makes you really, really attractive to job applicants and things like that. So I think that's that's all I have to say about that. Any other questions? I don't, does that make sense?
It does. I think that's a really, really great piece of advice, Devin. And it kind of made me think, just kind of thinking about what you were mentioning earlier about kind of the edge that you had when you were first applying for the college. It made me think, when I first was working with the college back in 2019, where I was looking for work, I started off working at the college part-time, and the position that I was in, I believe it was a new media design specialist was the official position title of it. My position now, after I went full-time in 2021, my position slightly changed, but kind of thinking back to when I was looking to get my initial job at the college, naturally it was a more video production oriented job. And of course, I have my associate's degree in video production. So a lot of my technical skills in terms of production in that end came from working or being a student here at the college. But during the process when I was applying for it, one of the, aside from, the normal interviews and whatnot, sort of the final hurdle that I had to cross was it essentially came down to me and one other candidate, and we actually had to produce a video basically they gave us a prompt and certain technical requirements for the video and that kind of thing. Each of us had to actually produce a video under certain, time constraints and requirements. And basically it was the person who I guess did best with that wins. But I would say that kind of, aside from my technical skills, kind of one of the personal things that experiences that I got to have as a student that really contributed to that was when I was a student, both in high school and also at the college, have you ever heard of a competition called Skills USA?
Yes.
Yeah, so I was actually a Skills USA competitor for 3 years. I did 1 year in high school and 2 years in college. All 3 years I competed in the TV video production category. And the crux of that area of the competition in Skills USA was pretty much all about, producing videos in a certain time constraints and, with certain prompts. Basically, they give you a prompt and you have to film it, edit it, write the script for it, do all that stuff under certain, criteria. And I think that really honing those particular, skills of being able to work, under certain constraints with that really kind of helped prepare me for at least that particular hurdle having to jump for getting this position here at the college. So I definitely agree that, of course, you can, the degree and stuff that helps prepare, but there are lots of other ways you can kind of fine tune your talents and kind of hone your skills to better prepare you for, working your career and whatnot. So definitely thank you for sharing that.
Of course.
Yep.
Devin, thanks so much for joining us on SciTech today. I just want to be able to bring this back to biotech.
Yeah.
And so one of the reasons I like to go out of our lane is because I worked in a biopharma company for many, many years. I led one, smaller one, but one of the things that really comes up all the time is the messaging. And so I really wanted to bring you on board today. I really am thrilled by the discussion you and Trevor had, which is great. And I want to thank you on behalf of the college for all the work that you do. And also to let our students know too, that you can take these wonderful assets that you have as an individual, and you aren't restricted to the field. You don't have to go to a cable network or something. You can actually take these to the government. You can take them to industry, and you can take them within industry to biotech.
Absolutely.
So, Trevor, any last comments?
Well, I just want to say thank you so much for joining us today, Devin. I'd probably say, I've done quite a few different SciTechs at Russ, and this has definitely been one of my favorite ones. I really like, it was really nice getting to talk with you about, your experiences here and kind of your role at the college and just kind of learn more about you also. And it's definitely been a very, very enjoyable conversation. Thank you very much, Devin.
Hey, thank you both for having me. It's been an honor. Like I said, I'm on a SciTech, Mom. Look, watch the video. So no, thank you both so much. A wonderful conversation and a great way to I know do my first SciTech lecture with y'all.
Thanks, really appreciate it. Have a good day, everybody.
See ya.
All right.